I've learned a lot over the 4 decades of health and fitness and being in the trenches with the greatest in the world. And one of those things I've learned a lot more about and how to build better muscle is nutrition and how it has changed over the decades. And that's why I have the Titan meal plan for you guys out there that are confused about nutrition. I'm going to set you straight. Get a hold of me today. The link will be in the comments down below for you guys. Everybody, get over to the Titan meal plan, and I'll see you in the Titan crew where I will fine tune any difficulties that you're having. Unmuted, unfiltered, savage of savages. One of the few, let me say that again. One of the few guys that has started such like a pup like I did. And I don't mean like Disneyland kind of working out stuff. I mean like seriously lifting like a mental case like myself. This cat, Lee Priest, is someone that has been in the industry over 3 decades, someone that his I love the fact that he beat Ronnie Coleman. That's such a savagery of who he is. I like him because I think today's society, or the snowflakes of today, would call him toxic. I love him because he's unfiltered, he's real, he says what he believes. And it's unfortunate for you guys, but I agree with everything he says. So you're going to mute him, you're going to mute me. But also, he's not one of these guys. When he was at Gold's in the early 90s and stuff, he's not one of these guys that would lift like all the guys. I tell you, like Francis Benefato trained with me. All these guys that trained with me that you may think didn't train heavy, all trained heavy. Sorry to tell you, man, they all trained heavy. And that's why they just look different to me. It's why they looked, I don't know, better. But Lee Priest, let's bring this man on. It's funny because I've lived all the stuff that you're saying. It's like when you first start the diet, it's great because you still got that size, but then the shape comes out and everybody goes,
what about that in between stage where, like I said, I love to be big and bulked where you're strong. I start dieting and now I'm not big and bulked. I'm not ripped. I'm in this in between stage where I got a little definition here, but my waist is still fat. So you're sort of soft and spudgy in place. I said, that's the bit where with your mind, it's like, do I just go and eat again and go back to being bulked? Or do I just look in the mirror and push through it? Because once you get through it, then everything starts coming in. But that in-between stage where everything just looks soft and you're like, oh, Jesus.
So that's the crossroad. Let's say that's the crossroad. A lot of these people that are watching today are in that crossroad. They've been moderately dieting, or they've been dieting, and they're getting to this point, and they can go either right or left. Do I keep dieting, or do I go off season? Is there something? And this is gonna be a tough question because it's gonna make you really dig on this one. What would make you go to the right to keep dieting? What would make you go to the left to go off season? Not for you, particularly you, but for you, if you were coaching somebody, what would you tell them if you can? If this is it's a tough question.
I'd be like, listen, like it's like, how long have you been off season? You know, if you came to me, you want change, I'm going to make you have change. You know, you've been this way your whole time, and yes, because I've been through it, I know how it is to go like this. But I'd tell people, look, going back to how you were off season's too easy. You could just go and have a couple of meals in a few days, and you're back to that. I said, look, mentally, yes, it's going to be hard. That's why I always tell people, physically, when I got ready for shows, dieting, the cardio, the training was easy. The mental side was the hardest you're ever going to go through. The mental aspect where your mind's going to play games. You've probably known it too, where even when you're in shape some days at the gym, you could look in the mirror and go, I look like shit. And people go, what are you talking about? It's just like, it's almost like these anorexia.
Because my team's here. And you guys understand that now, because they'll go, you look good. And I'm like, I look like shit. And they're like, dude, you look really, really good. And it does. It messes with your mind. So everybody at home.
And you're like, you're just saying that because you're my friend. You're just saying that.
You're paying you. But you're listening to a legend of the health and fitness world tell you that it freaks with your mind. So understand, for you, you average Joes that have your job and your family and stuff, you're listening to a legend of the industry telling you it messed with even him, and it messes with me. And so don't feel bad that it messes with your mind when you do get to that.
Oh yeah, and
cross.
we're all going to get to that point, and this is where I said it. Just be strong and keep going, because it might only be 2 weeks. You're at that point where you look at yourself. I just stopped looking at myself because, like I said, the upper body around the delts and arms might be tightening up, but the waist is still flabby. So it's like, oh, I look good here. I look soft here. So it's like, I won't even look. And generally it's only like 2 weeks, and then you'll notice it all coming in. And then you feel, I'm glad I stuck with it. I pushed through. And once you get past that, it just seems like, I'd go to bed, I always say the power of the mind. I'd lay in bed, as dumb as it sounds, to put myself to sleep. I'd be like, I am getting more ripped. I am getting more shredded. My skin's getting thinner. Like this mantra, I just keep saying in my head over and over. And when I was married to Kathy at the time, I'd just say this, I'm getting tighter. It's getting tighter here. And like, I'd picture it in my mind, the abs coming in, the waist coming in. And every couple of days, she's like, you look to be changing all the time. And it's something to be said, if you can see it in your mind and stuff and you believe it, that mentally it will start happening. Because once you see it start happening, like I said, you get past that tough 2 weeks and you look in the mirror, all of a sudden you're like, oh, my waist has come in. The excitement comes back. You're like, yeah, I'm getting in shape. So when you go back to the gym, you're training harder, your cardio is getting harder, and week by week, you just seem to be getting in shape. So, it's going to be hard, but once you get through that, trust me, it's worth it in the end. Even if you're not getting, like I said, not everyone's going to go into contest shape, but just for the average person who wants to just feel better about themselves and get into some decent type of shape, just to go from how they were to looking, good and feeling good, it's going to be hard on your mind. And like I said, it's too easy to go back to that. Just stick it out. And like I said, generally, it's just that 2 weeks max at the top where it just seems to, nothing's happening. You might even hop on the scale and go, oh, even the scales aren't moving. Why am I even bothering? And that's where it starts playing with your mind, because I'm dieting hard. I'm doing the cardio hard. But it's almost like your body just plateaus for 2 weeks to fuck with you, to test you out, to say, okay, which way are you going to go? And if you get through that, then it will start dropping off again.
If you are confused about training, do not worry. That's what the Titan training plan is for. For you guys to subscribe to this plan, you also get the additional coaching from me in the Titan private group. Get in there today, and I cannot wait to start working with you and making your dreams come true. Let's get back to the show.
So I'm asking you that one first. How long is too long to diet down for?
Well, I think I'll do it 12 to 16 weeks for a contest. And, at a contest, you look your best, but you feel your worst, because being that lean, as good as it looks, it's not healthy. But to the average person, if you're, like I said, I don't even like to call it dieting, because yes, we go on a strict diet for a contest, but for the average person who wants to get in shape and look a bit decent, I just call it, it's just really healthy eating, making the right changes and choices. And once you get that going, and I said, and you do your cardio, even if you're only doing 45 minutes a day walking your dog, or morning and afternoon walking the dog, it doesn't have to be in a gym killing yourself. Like, I'm not one of those guys that goes crazy. I just get on the treadmill, a good steady pace on an incline, or I go walking outside. And like I said, but if you're eating healthy and clean, once you get to that point where you're like, you know what, I look good, I'm happy with where I am, you can still eat clean. And as you know, if you're doing the cardio consistently, if you go out for dinner and you feel like, hey, you know what, I want a piece of chocolate cake, you can have it. Don't be like, oh no, I can't eat that. You can have that. And trust me, one piece of chocolate cake at a meal once a week, or if you go out one night and go, you know what, tonight's the night I'm going to have a pizza. Trust me, when you first do it, you think, oh, this is bad food, I can't eat it. You beat yourself up mentally, but trust me, the next day you're going to look exactly the same. Yes, if you did it every day, you're going to put a bit of weight back on, but you can have a little treat here and there and not feel guilty about it. And now there's certain treats that are lower in sugar and lower in fat that, you can have that, as long as your main diet though is still healthy. And like I said, not bodybuilding diet, because we go far extreme for a bodybuilding diet, but just overall healthy eating. If you're eating healthy, you can have a little treat here and there. So like I said, it's unrealistic to think you can only eat chickens and salads and you can't have this and can't have that, because anyone that sort of deprives themselves for a long time, if you just had a little bit, you're satisfied, you can get through the week again. If you have that a little cheap meal on a Saturday night, you have your pizza and whatever, a bit of chocolate cake, come Sunday, Monday, you're good for the week. Whereas if you just have nothing at all, once you get to that point, like I said, when it builds up and you go to have something, you explode and go right off the rails, because you deprived it for so long. Because sometimes you might just need that little bit just to keep you sane. It's like, I just want a little bit, I just want to taste. Have it. Once you get to that point where you're happy with how you're looking. Like I said, because you don't want to be miserable. I said, you want to diet, you want to look good, but feel good and still have fun. You don't want to be like, oh, I hate the world, I hate you. You go out for dinner, you're sitting there eating and go, oh, fuck you, I hope you choke on that. It's like, it's like, you don't want to be one of those miserable people where you look good, but you just, shit the bee around because, oh, he's on a diet again, he's too miserable.